Hello friends, this is Rajkumar. Today we will discuss about social science chapter 1 from the class 6th of Karnataka state syllabus. These chapters are not only important for the class 6 students, it is also very important for all those aspirants who are going to write TET exam, police exam, PSI exam and KS, Karnataka's administrative services. For all these exams, class 6th to class 12th of social science book is very important. So we will discuss one by one, one chapter after the other chapter, and we will finish up the syllabus. So today we will discuss introduction to history. Maybe it may seem that this chapter might be very easy, and actually it is very easy, but it covers very broad concepts of the history. Now, what is history? History is systematic presentation of past events. Means to get any history of any country, there should be solid proofs. Without artifacts, without monuments, without any remains of the our oldest people, we cannot create history. If we create it, it will become like a story. Here they have given one nice example also. If the history becomes there is no proof for the history, then it will become a story. Like once upon a time there was a king in a place, he fought a war. But when we have proofs, then we will tell like this: Ashoka, who ruled Patliputra in 261 BE, fought the Kalinga war. Like that, this kind of things we will call as history. Not these are stories, and this is history. So to get history of any country, any place, we should be having some proofs for that. Now, why we want history? This is very, very important, because many people, now whoever studying in 6th class, they will think that why these persons, why history is in our syllabus, it is no use, nothing. We have to learn science, maths, like that. But history is very, very important. For example, here in this chapter they have given one nice example that when you put your hand on a fire, then you will feel that your hand will burn. Again, after some time, if someone wants you to put your hand on the fire again, you won't put it, because you have learnt already that fire burns you, fire hurts you. So you have got that memory, you have retained that memory, and you are recollecting it to use that you should not get burned again. So if you are not having any memory, then you will keep that hand again in the fire and you will burn again. So there won't be any progress in your life. So to get progress, you have to have memory, you have to recollect whatever memory you are having, and you have to retain it. You have, from these experiences, you will grow further. So in your life also, whenever you do mistakes, you write it down or you remember it. Then you should not do those mistakes again and again. I will challenge you. If you follow this, if you won't repeat the mistakes again and again, one day will become very, very successful person. So for individual growth, this memory, recollection and retention is important. Like that only, for the growth of a society, growth of a nation, history provides these memories. So history is memory for a society. Likewise, as an individual, you are having experience of getting burned in a fire. You should be having experience for the society. What are the wrong decisions taken by our ancestors? What are the joyful and sorrowful experiences they had? We should not repeat those mistakes, and we have to progress in our society. That is what history teaches us. I will tell you a story where Dhanananda of the Nanda dynasty, he had quarrel with our Kautilya. So Kautilya became sorrow, and he went outside and he brought Chandragupta Maurya, and he made him to fight against Dhanananda, and he toppled the Nanda dynasty, and Maurya dynasty came into power. So here what experience we will have from the history is, we should not quarrel with our own people. So because of this quarrel only, Nanda dynasty got toppled and Maurya dynasty came into power. Not only these things, there are many examples in the history where Even though we had experiences, bad experiences, still we were doing the same mistakes. Even during 1000 to 1027 BCE, it was a period where Muhammad Ghazni was plundering the India. Here during this time also the feudal lords of the Gurjar Pratihars, where Solanki, Gadwals, Tomar, these kingdoms were quarreling in between themselves. So these Ghazni came from the out of India, and he plundered all India, and he taken many valuables from India and taken away from India. So here also, even we had the experience of not to quarrel in between ourselves. They have quarreled, and because of that some other foreigner came to India and he plundered India and taken many wealth from India. And even during the period of British also, that Siraj ud Dawla, he has thrown Britishers out of Bengal. But the backstabbing of our own people, he like Mir Jafar, he backstabbed the Siraj ud Dawla, and he made Britisher to come to Bengal again. So these things we should not be repeating. If we have learnt these things from the history, from the past experience, now Britisher may not have ruled us for more than 300-400 years. So this history teaches us, history gives us experiences, history gives us what are the bad decisions taken by our ancestors, what we should not repeat. Those things history teaches us. Even after these many experiences also, still nowadays we Indians are fighting among ourselves for the religion, for the caste, for our land, but even in our own family we are fighting each other. This history teaches us not to fight. We have to be together. We have to have brotherhood nature. That's why even in preamble also they have told, they have mentioned the word fraternity. It resembles it. It is the meaning of brotherhoodness. We should be having brotherhoodness. Here, come to this chapter again. This Herodotus, he is in Greece. He is from Greece country. He told the world that how to construct history, how scientifically we have to construct history. That's why he is called as the father of the history. Now we will go to sources. As I told, without sources, without proofs, history will become a story, and no one cares about a story. History should be having some proofs, and those proofs we will call as sources. Those sources, there may be sources can be divided into literary sources or archaeological sources. Literary sources mean can be written down, or can be orally sung, or orally story told from one person to other person. Even now we hear many oral songs that are belonging to Sangoli Rayana, Kittur Rani Channamma. Even those kind of songs, or those kind of oral things will also be source of our history. These oral things will be from illiterates, and when it will be written down, it is called literary sources. Literary sources we are having written down and oral one, and within written down it may be written by our own country people, or it may be written by the foreigners. For example, here they have told written can be further classified into native and foreign literature. We have seen many foreigners who came to India as an ambassador, and they have written, like Megasthenes. Even Megasthenes, he came from some other country. He written full in detail about the Mauryan kingdom. Huan Song, he was a Chinese traveler. He written many books. Siyuki, all those books were written by the foreigners, and we ourselves, our native people also will write the things about the kingdom, what happened in that kingdom. All those things will be native literature. And foreign literature I told. Oral literature also I told. These are like folk songs, stories, ballads, myths and legends. Now come to archaeological sources. Archaeological sources means which we can touch, and these include coins. With coins, what we understand means whenever if for example if Mauryan Guptas is having one coin, and Gupta is within India, but if we get this coin out of India somewhere in the Greece or somewhere in the Egypt, then we conclude that Gupta is having relation with the trade relation with the Greece or trade relation with the Egypt and all. So these coins are also play very important role it will tell us to the extent of our extent of the kingdom and also trade relations with the foreigners. So these archaeological sites, we can classify them as, here we have already discussed, one second, the sources of history can be literary sources and written literature, oral literature. These we have seen: written literature, foreign literature, these lavanis, folk tales, historical legends. And archaeological sources can be monuments like Red Fort, like Badami cave temples, Taj Mahal. These will come under monuments. And coins, there are many Gupta age coins, there are many coins which belongs to different kingdoms, Mughal coins also there. And inscription plays very important role because they are written on a stone. One stone will be there, they will write a story on the stone. These monuments will tell how rich it was, how talented those architectures were, like that. But these inscriptions will give us detailed information. They will be written down. And other archaeological remains like bones, pots, in Vedic literature, in even before that Harappa Mohenjo-daro period also, we have constructed history based on those pots, and based on we have got many bones of human beings, from where we have used the technique of carbon dating, and we found the period of that Harappa Mohenjo-daro civilization. So these we also will form under other architecture remains. Here they have told excavation. We should not do excavation like digging a well. We should be very smooth in excavating. It is a scientific method to remove the layers of the sand and take out the civilization from the crust. So it is a scientific process involved in digging the earth to obtain the ancient remains of fossils of our ancient people. That is called excavation. Okay, now we will discuss India as introduced by Europeans. Before Europeans came to our India, we used to tell history as story. But Europeans, they taught us how to scientifically construct history. There are many Europeans who have told us, who have shown us how rich our culture is, how rich our heritage is, like Heinrich Roth. He converted Sanskrit grammar. Into Latin language. And that Father Cordox, he told there is a similarity between the Sanskrit and European languages. And as I told before also, during that Siraj-ud-Dawla time, Mir Jafar has backstabbed Siraj-ud-Dawla, and he helped the British to regain the Bengal again. So after British got that revenue rights in Bengal, British officers tried to understand. They tried to understand the culture, the customs, the laws, values, beliefs of Indians, and they got involved with Indians, and they wanted to rule India. So to rule any person, we should know their rules, their laws, their values, their customs. Then only we can make them fool, and then only we can rule them. So they have followed this method, and they ruled us for many years. And some Britishers got so involved and so impressed with our culture that they have gone deep into our culture, and they have written many literature works. For example, here Manusmriti and Bhagavad Gita, these all great literary works were converted from Sanskrit to English. This William Jones, he came to India as judge of Supreme Court during the period of British, and he created one Asiatic Society, the Asiatic Society, in 1784 CE at Calcutta. And he was very talented. He was he known many languages, and he also got impressed with our culture. So he translated Gita Govinda of Jayanaka, Manava Dharma Shastra. This Manava Dharma Shastra book will be known as Hindu customary law. Even today it acts as a very great source of Hindu customary law. And Kalidasa Abhignana Shakuntala, all these books here converted from Sanskrit to English. Now another prominent Indiologist means who are greatly impressed with India and they wanted to know culture and heritage of India. Those are called as Indologists. This Sir William Jones, Max Muller. He did not came to India, but he written the book called Sacred Book of the East. Sacred Book of the East. In 50 books he has written based on Sacred Book of East. That name of those volumes of books is called Sacred Book of the East. And also James Mill, he written History of India. Both these persons have not come to India, but even then they got impressed with our culture that they have written many books. History of India is having 6 volumes, and this Max Muller, the book Sacred Book of the East is having 50 volumes. Now again this Abbe Dubois, he came to India as missionary, but he settled in Srirangapatna. It is in our Karnataka only. He settled in Ganjam near Srirangapatna, and he lived there for many years, more than 20 years. He lived for 24 years here in Karnataka, and he was called as Dodda Swami. He written after knowing all customs, heritages, manners, ceremonies of Hindus, he written a book called Hindu Manners, Customs and Ceremonies. So after living here for 24 years, he returned to his country, France. Not only these persons, Max Muller, James Mill, Sir William Jones, Abbe Dubois, and there are many number of literature writers who came to India, and they shown us how rich our culture is. So we should be proud of our Indian culture, and they shown us how to construct history. Before these we used to tell history as like a story, and after these Europeans comes to India, we got to know how we should construct the history.